Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the John Sitton Football Uncensored podcast with me, Joe Mealing, asking the questions. We've had a little hiatus post Euro 2020, and we're back now. I've been up to my eyeballs, hence why I probably look about 3 years older the last time he saw me. John's gone out and bought some lovely home furnishings, including the chair behind him, which looks lovely. Nice green colour. I don't know if there's a meaning behind that, John, but it looks very nice.
No, it's grey.
Oh,
It's
grey.
actually grey. Yeah.
Oh, it's grey. Well, it's great.
Yeah. To go with the carpet. It's to go with the carpet.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. No, it looks nice.
Listen, all I'm going to say to you is don't knock it, because I'm
not knocking it.
No, you think nice. I've took a 50% cut in takings. So what I'm saying is, it is tough at the top, as you know, right? You got. You'll end up with more money than the Queen.
Let's quickly move on. So first round of fixtures. I think we'll concentrate on that for this session. We'll do another session after this in a separate episode. It will go on the YouTube channel, where John will get out his crystal ball and do his Nostradamus impression in terms of the season ahead. And what he thinks is going to happen. We'll talk about Kane in the next one, but this is this one, and this is the weekend's fixture. So, without further ado, John, first fixture, Friday night. Yeah. Brentford just been promoted. First time they've ever been in the top flight. Can't remember, but no, certainly
It's not
for a long time. They haven't been in the top flight
since 1947.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I believe. Working good from stat. Memory, they kept saying on the radio it was sort of 74 years or something.
And comfortable win against Arsenal. What was your thoughts? And I think you put a tweet out saying, Arteta's under the cosh already. Got a difficult game coming up, the second game. Doesn't bode well for the season ahead. I would say.
No, it doesn't. Oh, excuse me a minute. Yeah, it doesn't bode well. What? If I'm honest, I got it totally wrong. The fixture itself, what I actually said was I fancy either a draw or welcome to the harsh reality of Premier League football and Brentford 1, Arsenal 3. And I've got to be honest, I only saw the highlights on Match of the Day 2 last night, because even Saturday I was working. So Friday's fixture, I missed a thing on Saturday night, and then I picked up the thread last night. Comfortable, you said comfortable victory. I think comfortable is the operative word, because having been brought up as an Arsenal supporter, going to every home game, stand on the North Bank with my dad, the father and son to the football cliche thing, all the rest of it. I was there as a kid, got an injury. Then there was one of 10 clubs that wanted me to sign from, so I was invited back. Then played against them, having plumped for Chelsea. And the common thread for all of that is Arsenal were always renowned for being tough, resilient, going to the end, being hard to play against, being difficult to break down, being professional, having a bit of class. And I look at it, and like you said, comfortable victory. It was far too comfortable for Brentford, in my opinion. I look at it and I think to myself, I feel sorry for Arteta. He's a bit like myself, much lower down. People have said he's a decent coach, but it would seem he's suffering from some sort of lack of credibility, and I can't work out the reasons why. When I go back to when he first went there, and he was like supposedly a breath of fresh air with his training, a breath of fresh air with his strategy. He picked up the thread, or really basically a load of broken pieces left behind by, is it Emery?
Yeah, Emery, yeah.
And you see him like really like lots of movement, passing and movement. Then when they lost the ball, they were swarming all over it, closing down, pressure on the ball, pinching it back, building a new attack. I never saw any of that in the highlights or any of that in the feedback from the game. And I'll tell you what struck me was a word that was used by the commentator, and I'm pretty sure it was Jonathan Pearce. he said he used the word feeble, and I thought it was very, very appropriate. I could never ever envisage an Arsenal team, in all the teams I played against, from youth team to football, even football combination, where you had like the mixture of like youngsters, people coming back from injury, pros past their sell by date, etc., etc. They would just like go at it with your hammer and tongs right until the final whistle.
Yeah.
And the first team, I was actually on the end of a good idea, which I'm going to mention a few bits in my second book about some negative stuff that I've been on the end of again. But the other one was a 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge, but the damage had already been done anyway. And I think we were already relegated. But you look at down the years, just some unbelievable sides, but just as
but never
important.
feeble, have they?
No, you look at the ability. You look at the ability, Joe, and then there was always that thing that matched with the ability, whereby they were very organised. Like I say, very tough, very resilient, very hard to beat. I don't see any of that.
No, I mean he seems to be going down the youth route, but I suppose even when you've got youth, you look at back at what Ferguson did at Man United and the youth players that come through, class of '92 and all that. There was still a solid spine to the team, wasn't there? And you can't just throw youth players in and without that solid spine. And Arsenal have had that solid spine for a good few years now.
Yeah, you've got to question the goings on behind the scenes. You've got to question the appointments from above. You've got to question the judgment of those appointments with regards to all the recruitment. I think it's been abysmal.
Yeah, I think what a disappointment. Really he started. I mean, that's the strange way. He started in another disappointing performance. Spent a lot of money on him, and he hasn't done a tap, has he? And then he starts him. What's he looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm just thinking to myself. First of all, the so-called Wenger legacy. We've spoken before about it. I mean, we know he won pots, but how hard is it to see that Henry, Vieira, Perez, Petit, Adams, Seaman, the players? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. And then you look at like what he left behind. It's just like a massive 1 point something million a month liability in Ozil. But since then, because he had complete control of the club, and he through networking and whatever, he managed to bring players in. I would say that's been the biggest letdown with the subsequent appointments. I mean, they're looking at the I don't know what do you call him, chief executive, and also you look at Edu. I think Arteta's on a sticky wicket. I said on Twitter he's probably under pressure already.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, but just quick word on Brentford. Then obviously they've been a big exponent of the Moneyball style of well, not football, but certainly utilization of statistics in performance. Obviously, should have got promoted probably 2 seasons ago. Eventually got promoted last season. Seemed like a club on the up. Do you expect? Well, I suppose we'll actually cover this off in the next episode. But very good performance, and I guess stands them in good stead for the rest of the season.
Yeah, get off to a fantastic start. Unbelievable start. Yeah. With regards to the Moneyball thing, I think we've spoken about it before. To me, it's always just been common sense.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit with him. What he said last night, Danny Murphy on Match of the Day too. Talking about statistics and whatever happened to just the trained eye, which obviously it seems now too few and far between. What's happened with the trained eye spotting a player, and the Moneyball aspect, algorithm aspect side of it? That's not necessary. As in, I basically dealt with 4 chairmen in 10 months, and I said to all of them, I don't really want to be going down the same road as the previous manager. I don't really want to sign a player over the age of 24, because you've got to give yourself a chance on, with different ingredients on numerous fronts, which, I won't go into because I'm not paid to go into it. But I'm looking at the situation there. To me, it's just common sense, collecting good young talent and harnessing them within a framework. And They all seem to be good athletes, but they place a great deal of accent on the sort of the amount of ground they cover and injury records and play. Which is, to me, it's all just common sense, Joe. If I'm honest.
Yeah. It seems to be. I don't like saying it. Again, you know more about than me, but almost trying to make it become idiot proof. Anyone can do the job if it's based on statistics, because you almost don't need to know anything about football. You just look at the statistics, and then the statistics tell you whether someone's good or not. But like you said, what expert judgment should always be involved.
Regardless of anything else, they still look, I'd have to say, quite well against Arsenal, very well organised. And then you look at where the goals come from.
And Tony looks superb. I mean, I think.
Yeah, so they're just training ground stuff. That's not algorithms and statistics and money thing. It's just like I said, and I continuously say, it's the same game, just played on better surfaces with better athletes who have got better habits. Majority of the time, anyway.
All right, moving on to another double London header, if you like. Chelsea Palace, your old team Chelsea. Another flyer. Herr Tuchel's started the season off really well, and that's without some good players not playing, and obviously Lukaku not playing, the big signing. So it'd be good to get your assessment of those two teams, which Tuchel's taking it on, it seems, and consolidating. Won the European Super Cup on Wednesday, and Palace, Vieira's taken over, complete change in approach seemingly from Roy Hodgson. It'd be good to get your assessment of that game, and just, I don't know, the two teams with two different perspectives on the season, really. One looking up, one looking down, probably.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it. I mean, is it a different approach? I think he's got to be pragmatic. You know what I mean? If he starts suffering from idealism, like some of us have done in the past, he could come unstuck, Vieira. And I thought they were too easily beat, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Well, it must be hard for him, mustn't it? I mean, he's not a pragmatic manager. He's not a Hodgson or an Allardyce or a get results. When he's been brought up in good football, isn't he? And that's what he played in previous clubs. So
he's got to be allowed to get on with it. I mean, what I find sort of sticks in me throat a little bit is, obviously they must have known very early they weren't going to renew Hodgson's contract.
Yeah.
But I would imagine, I haven't really gone into it in detail, but I would imagine he's already spent a nice few quid over and above what was given or allocated to Hodgson, who's, I think, he was magnificent in making them difficult to break down and getting results above and beyond. Yeah, but he's got to be allowed to do it his way, Vieira, but they've got to get a grip very quickly, because you'll find that if you get off to a really slow start, you find yourself cut adrift.
Yeah. And Chelsea?
Yeah, look, I mean, the pass and the movement, I think it's as you were. I'm looking at the shape. I'm looking at the Alonso popping up. I know it was from a free kick, but I'm looking with the fullbacks really pushed high and wide and making up the numbers, helping to flood the box, on the far side, the furthest side from the ball. I think it's a little bit as you were. What I see is a little bit more, like I said before, a little bit more variety, a little bit less anarchy, a little bit more organisation than what it was under Frank Lampard. I think Lukaku he'll add something, without a doubt. We're going to talk a little bit later about the amount of money that's being thrown about. I mean, I find it borderline ridiculous. It's something like 3.5 times, nearly 4 times. I think it is 4 times what they actually sold him for initially. It just goes to show you, like the time and place, circumstances, in brackets. He's coming through as a kid. Jose De Bruyne is another one. Jose didn't fancy him or thought he wasn't ready. Went to Monaco and got Drogba. Got what he wanted. Won the silverware. Lukaku moves on to pastures new and does really well for other clubs like Moyes at Everton, and he had the dabble with Man United. He's done really well in Italy, and now it's turned full cycle and he's back at the bridge. Yeah, so I think he'll lend a massive presence. Should be a plus.
Yeah.
Passing and movement was really good, and nice clean sheet. Although I've got to be honest, I don't think Palace had a lot to offer.
No, I think just on Lukaku, I believe more money's been spent on him in cumulative transfers than any other player.
Wow. Yeah, Which
is, well, I suppose it's always going to be recent players because the values always go up.
Yeah, go up.
But nonetheless, it's an interesting one because he's never usually seen in that upper echelon, that elite level bracket, but people are willing to spend a lot of money for his services, and I guess
it's thin on the ground though, Joe.
Yeah,
yeah. You're saying that upper echelon. I mean, who you got Haaland, you got Kane.
Yeah,
you had Aguero,
Lewandowski, but there's not many.
He's. I don't think he's going to be coming out of jerk. So like what we named there, 4. Then you're looking at maybe latter day is knocking on a bit now, but someone like Cavani,
Suarez,
Suarez definitely in that top bracket.
Yeah, but there isn't many. They're all wingers now, aren't they? They're all kind of like inside forwards. Your Sanchos and your Fodens and
false 9 area.
Yeah,
which didn't go very well for City, did it, over the weekend?
No, I mean, we might as well talk about that. I mean, I think it'd be good just to get at least have a concentration on the London sides in this chat. But we could move on to the Sunday's game. Yeah, Spurs beating City. Surprise. Although, yeah, interestingly, Man City didn't have quite a poor start to the season last year. And Guardiola said after the game, he actually thought they played quite well, and the players are tired and all that sort of stuff. So whether he's taking the pressure on them, I don't know. But they've got a team full of internationals that would have had a busy summer. But yeah, surprise for you, the result?
Well, when you look at Spurs' recent record, no, it don't come as a surprise.
No.
Someone said about it's funny on Twitter, said something along the lines of he's going on about the Harry Kane team. And he's already lost 3 times to the Harry Kane team. Now he wants to buy Harry Kane to make him the Harry Kane team. And Harry Kane weren't playing, but they still got beat by the Harry Kane team.
Yeah.
So like the geezers mucking about on Twitter, I thought it was quite good the way thing. Their recent record is quite impressive against them. I think it was another 1-0 and a 2-0, or a couple of 1-0s and a 2-0. What I saw a few things. We're going about the previous commentator, Jonathan Pearce. It's remiss of me not to know who this one was because I thought he spoke absolute cobblers, complete bollocks. Well, he's going. They panned to the thing and they played some really cracking football. I thought it was a really good game of football, and they got as far as Spurs penalty area-ish, maybe around about 30 yards. And it was like deja vu for me from my time at the O's, where we played some fantastic football and we kept getting beat by the odd goal. And the common denominator being there was no cutting edge. We got around the opposition box and then it just fell flat and damp squib, like someone dropped a blancmange, and that was it. Done. You know what I mean? And then you get done on the rebound, or you got to try and work hard to get the ball back. It panned over to Pep Guardiola, and he's having a thing with one of his coaches or a couple of his staff, and the commentator said something along the lines of, "It's amazing how he sees the game so differently to everybody else." I don't get that. It's the same game, and you need to be fit, organised, and motivated. The fitness and organisation side, I thought he contradicted himself. I didn't understand, even though, put him in the side, he's an £100 million signing and he missed 3 months of football last year. I didn't understand putting Grealish in and putting Sterling in, who had a really busy year and had a fantastic Euros, probably one of my top 3 players of the Euros, and then leave out Walker, who's renowned for his athletic prowess, his athleticism and his pace, and leave out Stones. Really, if the truth be told, you do far more running as a forward and a midfield player than you do as a defender.
Yeah.
So to me, it seemed a bit of a contradiction, unless, which probably explains why he's a better coach and a better manager than anybody else, or perceived to be. He's basically resting them, knowing that it's a marathon, not a sprint. So he's leaving them out for a few weeks. And it's maybe a little bit borderline arrogance, thinking they can handle Spurs with the likes of, like I said, Stones and Walker and De Bruyne until the last 15 minutes, whatever it is he got on.
Yeah,
I thought he should have got on earlier.
He looked sharp.
Yeah. And that's after I believe. Am I right in saying he went off with an hamstring injury or a calf injury for Belgium? Was it an hamstring injury?
I thought his ankle. I thought didn't Rudiger stamp on his ankle or something?
Oh right, well his ankle.
Yeah.
I remember him going off anyway, shaking his head and having the right hump.
Someone done him. I can't remember who it was. He might.
He missed quite a bit of the rest of the tournament. So he would have come back really fresh. I didn't understand why he didn't throw him on for at least the last half hour. 15 minutes for me for any sub. I think it's difficult for him to make an impact. Once you get past the 15 thing and you're counting down, really, I believe the substitution should only be made to waste time and for injuries, injured players. I don't think it's long enough to make a real impact.
Moving on, a bit of a controversial one, because I'm including Watford in the amalgam of London teams, but given I'm from Watford and they've just been promoted again,
you're biased.
We're inside the M25, so I suppose sort of. Still not London though. But yeah, so that was another big performance for promoted club, and yeah, Aston Villa obviously losing Jack Grealish. Again, only watched the highlights because it was a 3:00 kickoff. But again, Villa might just be missing. I might just miss a little bit of gold dust. I mean, we mentioned it before, didn't we, about the X factor? And Jack Grealish obviously has that. It's hard to replace.
Yeah, he's read the script and got out, hasn't he? And I'll tell you who else has read the script and got out, John Terry. Because I think Villa, unless they get their act together right from the next fixture, right from the off, and start accumulating points in the first half a dozen games. See, I'm a great believer in by the time you've played, so in the lower divisions, it's more, right? So that's where I was based. But like I keep on about, it's the same game. It's the same habits. It's the same drills. It's the same training. It's the same football intelligence or lack of it. Football IQ, whatever you want to call it. But by October, you would have played in the lower divisions, Joe, between 12 and 15 games. And you know where you are and whereabouts you are. I think probably higher up, it's going to be maybe 8 games, right? But what you need to do in the first 4, you need to get some points on the board. Yeah. And because by October, you'll have a rough idea of where you're going to be. And then by Christmas, you'll definitely have a rough idea of what the running's going to be like for you. Whether it's mid-table mediocrity, relegation battle, or challenging for the Europa League. I think I've always said it, and what you said about Jack being a bit of gold dust. I've always said it. I don't fancy him at the back, and that's why I say I think John Terry's got out just in time. And it infuriates me when I see stuff. And I've got to say what I've got to say at the end. I can only be honest.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I had a bit of a thing with a Chelsea supporter who, never took into consideration that I was basically a baby, 18, 19-year-old. They don't give a fuck about that, but the damage was already done when I got in the side. And I can honestly say that if I'm pushed to think about things, then I would say that probably in the few games I played, 1 goal was definitely down to me, maybe 2, no more than that. Other than that, I was steady as a rock, right? The point I'll make is this. People either take a like or an instant dislike to you. And I got tarred with the same brush as someone who came through the ranks with me and was injury prone, Mickey Nutton, and someone who, one of the ones who took my place after was Gary Chivers, who played quite a few games at centre back, but really primarily he was a fullback and had some of the biggest chasings ever seen at Stamford Bridge as a centre back. The point being, when you get crucified as a kid, even though the damage was already done by far more experienced, far more senior professionals than myself, some of them moved on, some of them didn't, and ultimately weren't good enough after winning promotion under Eddie McCready. That is my forthright forensic professional opinion on quite a few of the players, right? I've got no real time for people complaining about not being in a good place and suffering from their mental health. Right, now you know what I'm talking about. And yet again, I see him basically, he looked like he was treading water. I'm talking about one of the England centre-backs who said that he's felt undermined because fans were questioning why he was in there and he would be the wing. Even Rio Ferdinand said I would be targeting him. He's the weak link, which is not the brightest call if you're an ex-England player, an England supporter, telling the opposition who to target.
Yeah.
But the point being, I've got no real time for it, because I think you just got to roll your sleeves up and have a go. But I think it doesn't matter how much they have a go. And I've said it on numerous occasions in the past, on Twitter, on here. If you go back through some of the podcasts, I think they struggle big time at the back, which I've said to you before on this podcast. I find ironic considering that the manager and one of his staff, John Terry, were both centre backs. And I thought, again, I thought they got broke down too easily.
Yeah, they got roasted. Sarr was just at target on toast, didn't he? And run riot. And that's Watford. I mean, with all due respect, I mean Sarr's a decent player, but those nippy white winger type inside forwards, pretty much every team got them. So if they're getting roasted by Watford, it's going to be a long, hard season. You suggest, unless they buy someone.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. I think Palace. I think Newcastle. He hasn't really been. I mean, that was like really one of my ex-coaches, who's one of the best coaches I've ever seen work, and I've ever worked under, Brian Eastick. He would have said that's a nonsense game of football. If you're a paid professional, that is a nonsense game of football. Do you know the Newcastle West Ham one?
Yeah, the 4-2.
Yeah. But I'm looking at it. I'm thinking to myself. They're going to be in for a long, hard season. I mean, I like him to do well because he's an ex-teammate, and I got on really well with him when we were together at Gillingham. Yeah. We played alongside each other, and he's an all-round good guy. I got on really well with him and his wife. So I like to see him do well, Brucey. But he hasn't really been given any chance in terms of recruitment.
No, in money, yeah. So, I mean, he's got Callum Wilson back, and again, sort of highlights Sam Maximan. I actually thought he looked phenomenal. I thought he looked so good.
He did, yeah.
So that's the only bright point of the performance, because to ship 4 goals is a poor, I would suggest, against West Ham.
Joe, it could be the only bright point of a month, because this Sam Maximan, however you say his name, he can have one good game and then go on the mission list for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah,
if you could guarantee 3 performances or 3.5 performances like yesterday out of 4 games, and then like take him off an hour into the last game of the month to give him a breather because he's been like phenomenal, you can say, you know what, you give him a pat on the back, hold your hands up to that. You'd be more than happy with that. Callum Wilson, again, like massive plus, superb goal. Just looked too strong, he looked like he wanted it more with the header. No one was going to stop him getting that header in at the near post. Having said that, could have been avoided. I thought Declan Rice, give the guy some credit, this Sam Maximan, but a great deal of credit, but he still could have been avoided. I thought Declan Rice's defending was poor
Mm.
at best. Once he had him, once he's gone and closed him down, and he hasn't bought the. See what it is you react whether it's someone got their back to you or they're facing you. You only react to the ball, right? And when he's doing the step overs and he's pulling it this way and pulling it, it was nice and steady. Like I said, sometimes you need to have a stillness about you, right? And then when he pulls the ball back on his left foot and comes away from the byline, because you know for sure what they're looking to do, they're either looking to get to the byline and play the lollipop ball, right? Because I've always called it lollipop ball because like all the suckers get drawn into the near post, and what they do, they dink it, right? So suckers, hence lollipop, right? But
nice.
if he come back inside, that's when he's got to like just bend in and exaggerate his body position.
Yeah.
So the geezer, he's not allowing the guy to get back down and get towards the byline. Once he whipped the crossing, like I say, Callum Wilson, there was only one winner there.
Yeah.
He was a beast at the near post when he buried that. Yeah, for sure. But I thought that could have been avoided. But you look at it, you just think to yourself, they could be in for another long, hard season. And you've got the ongoing undercurrent, like Rafa's got at Everton. You've got the ongoing undercurrent with regards to the toxicity of the ownership and his relationship with the supporters, or the supporters' relationship with him. You've got the foul takeover at the moment, the foul takeover. And then if they do take over, you've got the cloud hovering over Brucey with regards to them wanting, in inverted commas, a high-profile manager, and they're going to give him money to spend. I mean, what chances? But at the end of the day, you know, he's going to knowing Brucey, the type of character he's going to dig his heels in.
Yeah, and it must be hard to motivate the players, you know, with that all going on. But what I mean, my perception is they do seem to have a go, Newcastle. They seem to have keen beans, players that will run for him. I mean, again, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on it, but I can't think of a time when I've seen them quit and give up like other teams.
No, that's right. Yeah.
They do seem to be a good bunch of lads, Newcastle.
They look sharp. They look together. They look like there was a spirit. They looked like they was really fit. They looked like they worked hard in pre-season.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like when there was a couple of passes or someone made a different decision to the one that was being called. I didn't like his body language, Shelby, giving it all as the geezer was going past him, because instead of passing to him, he had a wriggle past him, and I think he went to either get a shot in or punch it out to the fullback. It is what it is. What you do, you just get on with it. And then if you have words, you just say, look, I was on there. I was available.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All the remonstrating is bad body language for the thing. But other than that, I thought the spirit was superb. And the thing, the ball he put through Shelby, actually, for the Wilson had a back heel. Callum Wilson had a back heel. That would have been some goal, that.
Yeah. Quick word on West Ham. Obviously,
as good as Sam Maximum was, I'll say the same about Antonio. I mean, he's crossed for one of the goals, and the finish for the last one, I thought he was absolutely awesome. He looked unplayable, absolute beast of a fella. You know what I mean? He looks like he's really worked hard in pre-season. He didn't only look strong and sharp, but he looked like he could keep going. So he had the stamina aspect to it, and he seems equally as comfortable providing for others as he is trying to take chances himself.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, I guess that all the positions he's played in over the years has really helped in that. He's not just been a one-track pony, is he? He's played everywhere, so he's used to.
Yeah.
Doing.
Yeah, I know. Was he non-league winger, wasn't he? I think someone like Tooting and Mitcham non-league, and he started out as a winger. They were saying, I think he said, like tongue in cheek, he said, when he got the goal, he said, not bad for a wing back.
A right back, I think he said, yeah.
Yeah, he's had a dabble there.
He's
had a dabble up front. Yeah.
And seemingly a nice little replacement for Jesse Lingard inside Ben Rama, who obviously signed from Brentford. Quiet last season, obviously because of Lingard, but storming performance yesterday, and created a couple of goals and scored as well. So bodes well for him. Seems like a talent.
I've always said it, Joe. I've always maintained it from a kid where I saw walk into the station with my dad when they was talking about different bits and pieces at Arsenal and the way Arsenal used to do business. That's how you do your business. the way Moyes has done the business with him, because it's sort of slipped under the radar a little bit. No shouting and hollering, no screaming from the rooftops. He might have even had a word with the owners and said, look, keep stum until the geezer's in the building, signed on the dotted line. We've got his bank account number and his national insurance details, right? Other than that, don't say nothing, because too often in the past, we're going for him, we might buy him, we've put a bid in for him,
Yeah.
What you do, you give false hope to the fans, you mug yourself off if it don't come off. And it's not the way to do proper business, because you could end up creating an auction for someone who you could have had a deal on. You know what I mean? And I think Moyes is a bit old school like that, and I like that. He's sort of slipped under the radar, and I think they'll have another good season.
Yeah,
because that's another little firm. That's another little firm, right? The spirit looks superb.
Yeah, definitely. He's always done that anymore. I mean, you think the Everton team he had, they would run through brick walls for him, and that seems to be exactly the same thing he's created at West Ham. Just on that point about recruitment, you know, he's got Ben Rama, at the time was from the Championship, and Gerard Bowen was from the Championship. You know, and he looks.
Yeah, he's had a couple
of
good years, or a good year, and I don't know if I'm right in saying he picked up a knock, didn't he, when he was going really well at one stage. But yeah, he looks superb.
Humble lads, it seems, isn't it? You know, they're not cocky or arrogant. They work for the team, and
yeah, he's obviously got a good thing. Like, he knows how to create a buzz, or that comes with experience. You learn from your mistakes, and and it's about getting the opportunities. You know, I'm still convinced that he might have done a bit better at Man United if he was given the time.
Yeah.
If they're offering you a settlement and you want to go, you might as well take it and move on.
If the owners had known how long afterwards there would have been a period of, you know, no man's land, they probably would have stuck with him. You'd have thought.
Yeah,
I think they might.
It's time. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's fate. It's time. It's time, place, circumstances. Like I've always maintained, you only work these things out sometimes. Someone like myself, not switched on enough at the time, not blinded by different things. Sometimes that's what it's about: time, place, fate, circumstances. And I think his little stint at Sunderland will attest to that. You look at what he's created at West Ham and what he's on in terms of the last season. They've got to get their passports out now. They're in the Europa League. You know what I mean? So it'd be interesting. That's another thing, another added factor, Joe. How are they going to juggle that? Will he try and win it? Will he say, well, we'll have a little dabble, but if we get knocked out, it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Me personally, I like to think his mentality is such that they'll try and win it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. What we'll do, we'll finish up here, and then we'll, with the other obviously big performances with the big boys, Man United and Liverpool, and that we can talk about in the next episode, which is more holistic in its approach in terms of the full season.
All right.
So we'll leave it there, everyone. That's just a quick little overview there. Mainly the London clubs that have the weekends fixtures. We'll be back. Normal service will resume next week, when it will be just going through the games and waxing lyrical. But until the next episode, it's a goodbye from us. John.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.